Sorry for the little jump scare. I'm testing out having an avatar to represent myself in the video. Let me know if you like it or if you want me to keep it out. Anyway, let's jump into the video. I had to split this video into 3 parts because I have a lot to say about each Borderlands game. Oh, speaking of Borderlands games, I won't be talking about any spin-offs as I personally did not play them. I'm only going to be talking about Borderlands 1, 2, pre-sequel, and 3. Of course, when 4 is released, and I have played that, I will discuss how I feel about that game too. For now though, let's start talking about Borderlands 1. Part 1. Story. For the very first Borderlands game, the story is pretty decent. It gets the point across, pushes you along quite nicely, doesn't really pressure you, and it has some decent humour. Plus, it gives a little hint into what Borderlands 2 might be about. Well, at least in my eyes. Maybe it could have done better. But we got to remember that they probably only just started developing 2 a few days, weeks, months, or maybe a few years after 1. So they didn't exactly have all of their cards in front of them. Still, it was an okay plot. Part 2. Features. I don't know if this game was the first to introduce swapping your guns around for better ones, and to look out for different colours as they represent the rarity of a gun. But if they did, then they did a pretty good job at it. I personally always found myself picking up guns I wouldn't normally use just because it was better than my previous one. It allowed me to feel how that gun was like before I got a better version of itself in the future. That way, if I did not like the gun, I could always change it to one I was more comfortable with and find better versions. The same also applies to grenades, shields, and character mods. You'll always be looking out for better versions of those, either from chests, enemy drops, or vending machines. Speaking of vending machines, these things are where you'll be spending most of your time in. Here, you buy ammo, guns, grenades, shields, character mods, and sell the junk you don't need for extra money. It is a great system, especially when you see there's a deal going on, or a really good item that you want. This system is probably why I enjoyed the game so much, and it was so good that they kept it in Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, and 3. You can also bet they'll keep it in 4 too. After all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Part 3. Transportation. I was always a little mixed on transportation in that game. I mean, it does get the job done, but it always feels like you're running around a lot more than you are driving. That is the reason why I picked Lilith on my character after my second playthrough, as her ability makes you go faster whilst you're invisible. The catcher rides tend to be pretty far apart from one another, so if your vehicle gets destroyed and you're miles away from a catcher ride, you'll be walking for a while. The fast travel system was definitely needed in that game. There are a lot of areas for you to explore, so having a station you can teleport to and from was pretty delightful. However, the only complaint that I have here is that there are not enough fast travel stations. Some places only have 1 or 2, and they are miles apart from one another. So if you want to teleport around from place to place, you have to go right up to the fast travel station. You can't just simply open up the map and choose where you want to go, a feature that would appear in Borderlands 3, but one that I think should have came sooner. But some could argue that was a part of the fun, that you had to earn the right to use the fast travel station. I am not sure if I can agree with that. I mean, you still do work towards unlocking the fast travel station. Heck, it was one of the missions you do at some point in Borderlands 1. You have already proven yourself. Also, the stations only activate when you come across them. You can't just teleport to them right away, so you've already worked towards those as well. The least they could have done was give you the ability to go between them whenever you want, rather than having to find one of them in the map. Part 4. Gameplay. I must admit I was a bit mixed on this as well. There are times where I did have fun, but there are also times where I was bored out of my mind. Pair that with most of the missions feeling like filler ones, and you can see why I would feel bored. Most missions are just go and get this thing type missions. There just isn't enough variety, is what I'm trying to say. The game does try to throw in some cool stuff every now and then, like badass enemies, enemies with shields, and other things, but there just wasn't enough of them in my opinion. They did improve upon this in the second game, and again, this was their very first Borderlands game, so I can't be too hard on it. I just feel like the game didn't really reach its maximum potential. Also, while there are a lot of improvements in the enhanced edition of Borderlands 1, such as adding a system that prevents you from accidentally selling your stuff you didn't want to sell, I don't see much differences between the first edition of the game and the enhanced one. It's just the original with some slight upgrades, and maybe that isn't a bad thing. Overall, the gameplay for the first game was just fine. It got the job done. Part 5. Bosses. Some of these bosses are absolute pushovers if you know what you're doing. If you have seen a speedrun of this game, then you have seen it for yourself. You've probably also seen the glitch with Mordecai. You know, the one who throws a ton of blood wings. As fun as that is, it's not an intentional feature of the game, it's just a glitch. But even without the glitch, the bosses don't put up much of a challenge. At least, that's how I felt when I fought them. Still though, some of the bosses were really fun to fight, had great music, and would always drop something related to them, and, in my opinion, were more memorable than most of the bosses in Borderlands 3. Part 6. DLCs. Oh boy, we have quite the mixed bag here. There are some fairly decent DLCs, but there are also a few bad ones as well. And the one that I hated the most was the one with Moxie. You know, the one where you fight in an arena for what feels like hours on end? Yeah, that one. Even the reviews on Steam for this DLC are in the negatives, so I'm not the only one that really disliked this DLC. I feel like they could have done better with it. Maybe lower how many rounds you have to do, start the round sooner, and put less enemies in that you can't counter properly because you didn't have the correct elemental gun. There are a lot of things they could have done to make that DLC better. However, they either didn't have the time, couldn't add them, or didn't want to. Also, I swear they did not play this particular DLC, because who would find this fun? It's tedious, unreasonably hard at times, and doesn't feel rewarding when you beat it. As for the other DLCs, they're alright, don't really have a lot to say about them, so I will move on. Part 7. Conclusion. Overall, Borderlands 1 is a pretty decent game. It does have its flaws here and there, but it still holds up pretty well, and you will always have a fun time with a friend. However, I don't think I'll be playing it again anytime soon. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content. I'll see you next time.